Thank you so much.
Well, what the hell did you put me on the show for?
Well, I put you on the show to get you on to talk about your series. We talked for a long time, actually.
Oh, no, but we talked for a long time off the camera.
The new show, Mike Tyson Mysteries, airs every Monday night at 10:30 p.m.
This is Don Lemon, winner of Columbia Journalism Review's Award for Worst Journalist of the Year. And this is the top 10 fails of Worst Journalist of the Year award winner Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year. Number 10. Winner of Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, uses Twitter-sourced questions to posit Malaysian Airlines flight was swallowed by a black hole.
What if it was hijacking or terrorism or mechanical failure or pilot error, but what if it was something fully that we don't really understand? Noah says, what else can you think about? Black hole, Bermuda Triangle. And then Deji says, just like the movie Lost. And of course, they're also referencing the Twilight Zone, which has a very similar plot. I know it's preposterous, but is it preposterous, you think, Mary?
And Lost is a TV show, so
right.
Is it preposterous that I know it's preposterous to say I know something's preposterous, then ask if it's preposterous? But at least Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, didn't cry racism and insist on African-American whole. Also, in African-American whole, swallowing a Malaysian fuselage is syntactically identical to a coarse description of Don Lemon on a night out in Chinatown.
Sorry, I hate to cut you guys short, but I want to get it all in before we have to go.
Number 9. Worst Journalist of the Year award winner Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, throws a tantrum and cuts off his own show when Paris Denard calls CNN fake news.
Paris, what do you think?
I think this is fake news. This is not a news story. Don,
tell me what about it is fake, Paris.
I didn't interrupt any of you all. Let me just tell you why. The president is not breaking any laws, and he's not doing anything. It's not his
okay,
fault.
Paris, hold on. Let me ask you this.
No.
Let me ask you. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. Do you actually know what the definition of fake news is?
What we're doing right now?
No, okay. Well,
because
then you are part of the fake news because you are on the network and you're part of the...
No.
Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, actually made the argument that, quote, you're part of the fake news because you're on CNN, which isn't even as clever as I know you are, but what am I? Because it's essentially saying I know I am, and just being near me makes you too.
Fake news is when you... Hang on, let me explain to
story.
people out there watching and you what fake news is. Fake news is when you put out a story to intentionally deceive someone and you know that it is wrong. I don't know of anyone who has put out a story in the mainstream media that I can think of right now to intentionally deceive anyone. This story that we're doing right now is not to intentionally deceive anyone. We are simply talking about the cost to keep a president safe, the Secret Service cost, and what are the pros and the cons, and as Andre said, and if there are ways that we can maybe able to work on that to make it fiscally better for the American people. There is nothing fake about that. Please stop it with that stupid talking point that it is a fake news story. If you don't want to participate in the news stories on this network, then don't come on and participate. But don't call them fake because you don't agree with them. Go on.
Don, this is a fake news story, in my opinion, because the underlying
Paris,
assumption
thank you very much, everyone.
is that...
Thanks, everyone.
No, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year. Thank you.
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish.
Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, doesn't understand the difference between automatic and semi-automatic weapons.
I don't think that most people, I think, are for the Second Amendment right. Most people are. I am for that. I think people should be able to protect themselves. But if you're going to be honest about it, I don't think our founding fathers had these automatic weapons and military-style weapons in mind when the Second Amendment was drafted, when the Constitution was drafted. So
are you implying for the police, or are you implying for the private citizen? Because the majority of private citizens are not allowed to own fully automatic weapons.
It's obvious for anyone.
Okay, well, the gun law says that you and I can't just randomly go out and buy an automatic weapon, so let's deal with the facts here. A semi-automatic weapon is a gun that you and I are allowed to own, and in different places they have different rules. But to imply that anyone can walk out and buy an automatic weapon is just not true, Don.
What do you mean anyone can't? Well, listen, during the theater shooting in Colorado, I was able to go and buy an automatic weapon, and I, maybe have shot a gun 3-4 times in my life. I don't even live in Colorado. I think most people can go out and buy an automatic weapon.
Don, what is your definition of an automatic weapon? What is your definition of an automatic weapon?
Well, for me, an automatic weapon is something that you can shoot off a number of rounds very quickly. I was able to buy an AR-15 within 20 minutes in a state of which that I'm not a
you don't know, in all due respect, you don't know what you're talking about. An automatic weapon is when you pull the trigger one time and it continually shoots off. One after another after another. A semi-automatic weapon. I can do that with my
AR-15. You're getting into semantics here, just because
it's not semantics.
Hang on, Ben. Let me finish.
One is semi-automatic.
Yes. Let me finish, Ben. But listen, I think you are getting into semantics. Regardless of what you want to call it, an automatic or a semi-automatic weapon, I can shoot off a number of rounds.
It's the difference between breaking the law and not breaking the law.
Will you let me finish? Will you let me finish, Ben, before we...
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish.
Let me finish. One is semi-automatic.
I'm going to let you finish.
Yes, let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish.
Will you let me finish?
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish.
Will you let me finish, Ben, before we...
I'm going to let you finish.
Will you let me finish?
Well, now you're just getting into semantics. Regardless of what you want to call it, an automatic and manual transmission do the same thing. Number 7. Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, reveals his own racist views when he is surprised Paul Rodriguez isn't pro-illegal immigration just because he's Latino.
Paul, let me start with you. You know, we're a nation of immigrants. Look out there tonight at the Statue of Liberty. We have compassion for children. Why are we so divided in this country as to what to do about this problem?
I don't think we are divided. I think America has is heart in the right place. We need to be compassionate. We need to be strong and enforce our laws. It is precisely why we should make it clear in these countries that regardless of the trauma that they're obviously going through, but name me a Latin American country that doesn't have poor people, we have to set laws. We have to invest and let them know that it isn't the land of milk and honey, that life isn't easy here. You know, my heart goes out to the parents that have to traumatize their kids to go through Mexico. They must go through terrible abuse. But at the same time, if we accept these children and we don't repatriate them, it's only going to send out a clear signal to everyone in Latin America that if you get to America, you will stay here. And then if you think those numbers are big now, it's hard to trust the statistics.
People may be surprised to hear that coming from someone who is an immigrant.
Absolutely. But, you know, there are ways to come to this country. You know, there are ways, there are legal ways. Look, once they're here, I'm not saying to be cruel to them or anything like that. But if we accept, let's say we accept these children, we let them stay here in America, we give them good homes. What is this going to say to everybody else? Are we prepared to be overwhelmed? Because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, puts on his metaphorical rapist apologist hat and literal rapist apologist glasses to get a better view of the dump Ami Horowitz is taking on his face.
Let's talk about the numbers here. Yeah. Because we looked at the stats from the U.S. Department, the State Department. Here's what we learned, all right? Crime rose about 7% from 2012 to 2015. Much of that crime was nonviolent computer fraud and vandalism. In 2015, violent crime decreased slightly. There was no staggering increase. Where did you get your information, and did you look at the official number?
Yeah, from a far more accurate source, State Department. I don't know why the State Department is doing numbers for Sweden. I look at the Swedish, it's called BRA, B-R-A, which is the keeper of all stats for Sweden. Right. So if you look at what I call heavy crime, so I'm talking about murder, I'm talking about sexual assault. Sexual assault from 2006 to 2015 is up almost 50%. Murder between 2012 and 2016 is up, I think, almost over 80%. Yeah. Now, so those are the real numbers.
But are your ears and your eyes working? Because the numbers, as we're reading from BRA, right, and from the State Department, they don't show what you're saying. You're taking these numbers and you're manipulating them in the way that...
There's no manipulation.
I have them. They're right here.
The raw numbers are up.
That says BRA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me the...
But if you look at, even if you look at crime here in the United States, overall, for the past decade...
Crime is down.
Crime is down.
Right.
There was a spike.
Rape is down.
There was a spike.
Murder's down.
In 1 year.
Non-Sweden.
Right. Over time.
Non-Sweden.
That's the same thing.
No,
but it's not skyrocketing.
That's totally wrong.
Okay, let's say that you're right.
Murder is
but
not.
But hold on, you're classifying this as a skyrocket. That crime is skyrocketing. Rape, it's not a skyrocket.
So you think when rape is down in the United States and everywhere else in Western Europe, and then rape is up 50%, that's not skyrocketing?
Because of the way they classify rapes now.
Listen to me. The definition was before
If you had
those
not
numbers.
classified unwanted touching, if you're at a concert and someone touches you on any part of your body, that is now in Sweden classified as a rape.
So it is,
it was
and
not
so it is
before.
in the United States. First of all, it's sexual assault, not rape.
But
it's not rape, it's sexual assault.
It's sexual assault in the United States.
No,
but
it's sexual assault.
It's sexual assault in the United States, but it's not sexual assault in Sweden.
Incorrect.
It is now under the rape
That's
clause.
not right. So we're mistaken about that. Okay. The definition of rape in the United States, I looked at the definition.
And
in fact,
we know
out.
what it is in the
and
United States. We're not talking about the United States. We're talking about Sweden.
Listen to me. The definition of rape in the United States is the same, essentially, as the definition of rape in Sweden.
Now.
No,
not now. No, it's
now.
not. It's
no, you're
not.
wrong. Yes, it is.
Number 5. Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, suggests one of Bill Cosby's rape victims should have just bitten off his penis.
Can I ask you this, because and please, I don't mean to be crude, okay?
Yeah.
Because I know some of you, and you said this last night, that you lied to him and said, I have an infection, and if you rape me, or if you have intercourse with me, then you will probably get it and give it to your wife.
Right.
And you said he made you perform oral sex.
Right.
You know, there are ways not to perform oral sex if you don't want to do it.
I was kind of stoned at the time, and quite honestly, that didn't even enter my mind.
Yeah.
Now I wish it would have.
Right.
But
meaning the using of the teeth, right?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I didn't even think of it.
Biting. Yes. I had to ask.
Number 4. In the midst of an already brutal thrashing at the hands of Sheriff David Clark, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, cites a study, then debunks his own citation, then just goes ahead and cites it again.
A horrific day. I spoke to the heads of the Sheriff Department, the Police Department, and the state police down there, and they told us how their hearts were reeling. Their message is peace and coming together in the country. What's your message?
You don't believe that for 1 minute, do you?
That their message is?
Yeah.
That's what they said to me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Do we know that generally the American law enforcement officers are racist? Do we know this?
Go on.
I ask a question.
Do I know American?
Bunk that nonsense.
There's also research.
He also said
Sheriff,
this time.
There's also research.
He continues.
A Harvard professor that also showed that black people are treated more aggressively by police officers.
No, you are wrong
people.
in your interpretation of that Harvard study, because I read the study. That's not what he said. He said he was surprised to find
that in shootings, of the most severe in shootings, that he found no evidence that there was a difference. Also, it should be noted that that study was a very small sampling of police departments across the country. Many people did not find it credible, but it is also interesting that in that research, he found that blacks were treated differently when it came to aggressive policing, but for the most egregious shootings, he found no difference. That's what that study showed.
Well, based on what? Just generally?
All I want to do is have a conversation. I can't have a conversation with you if we're both talking at the same time.
Will you let me finish?
I'm going to let you finish.
Are you going to let me talk?
I'm going to let you finish.
Yes, let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish.
I can't have a conversation with you if we're both talking at the same time.
Will you let me finish?
I'm going to let you finish.
Are you going to let me talk?
I'm going to let you finish.
Will you let me finish, Ben, before we...
I'm going to let you finish.
Go on.
Number 3. Ivy League awarded Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, finally hears some truth on CNN. Hint, it's not from Don Lemon.
I would love to spend more time with you. You are an incredible guy. Thank you so much.
Well, what the hell did you put me on the show for?
Well, I put you on the show to get you on to talk about your series. We talked for a long time, actually.
Oh, no, but we talked for a long time off the camera.
The new show, Mike Tyson Mysteries, airs every Monday
Don
night
Lemon
at 10:30 p.m.
Isn't it interesting how abject terror and nervous laughter as the result of abject terror look the same?
I'm back now with Mike Tyson. He's still here.
All right, pump the book, Don.
He says you should buy this book, and next time we're going to have you on for a lot longer.
All right, come on, that's not long enough. Show the book, Don. Show the book, Don.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you guys that tomorrow night I'll be live in Ferguson as it gets close to a grand jury decision, so make sure you watch.
What do you think is going to happen?
Thanks for watching.
They're going to convict him deep in your heart. You think they're going to convict him?
We'll find out.
No, you don't believe that.
Say that in the prompter right now.
You do not believe they're going to convict him.
AC 360.
You do not believe that they're going to convict him, do you, Don? Be deep in your heart, deep in your heart, deep in your deep southern self.
Number 2. Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, finally runs into a ballsier version of himself, rapper Talib Kweli.
On CNN.com right now, you have a story up that says, Ferguson calm until bottles fly. Well, that's inaccurate, because I was there that night, you know what I'm saying? And that's not what happened. Well, the first thing in the story it says is police chased down men.
Well,
let me finish my point.
But that's not what happened where you were. But
I was there, right there, with the article, the situation he was talking about. I was right there. That's what happened.
But that's not what happened.
Let me finish my. That's exactly what happened.
I'm going to let you finish your point.
That's exactly what happened. No, you're not, because you're talking.
Yes, I am. I'm going to let you finish your point.
No, let me finish my point before you talk.
Okay, let me
finish my point before you talk.
I want to address something you said.
Can I finish my point? We don't have to have an interview if I can't talk. If I can't talk, we don't have to have an interview.
Okay,
For real,
can I finish my point, though?
Well, you're interrupting me and telling me you're going to let me talk.
Where you were, and police say you're not seeing everything that happens, that goes on. You can't see everything that happens.
I'm only telling you my perspective. Can I finish telling you my perspective, and then you can respond? Because that's how you have a conversation.
I understand that. In order to have a conversation, you have to listen to me as well.
Okay, well, let me just explain something. I would listen to you if you had the decency. Let me finish. If you had the decency to greet me.
I do have the decency. I invited you to come on CNN.
All right, let me tell you what happened. You didn't invite me. Nicole invited me. First of all, you came up. You didn't even say nothing to me. You on your phone the whole time. You asked how to pronounce my name, and then you have no respect for who I am. So let me finish saying what I have to say, or else I'm gonna leave.
Number 1. Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon. Worst Journalist of the Year is Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the New Year.
Yours cool.
Let's do it. Hang on. Hang on. Tell him what you have to do first. We had to be in a sterile place.
Can we please not give him shots, by the way?
And then everything's pre-sterilized, ready to go. So we're good.
Okay, I'm cutting you off after this one. Should I cut him off?
Is this going to hurt?
It's not going to hurt me. You'll be fine.
Oh! Oh!
Ow!
Oh, the whole crowd. The whole crowd's like, what is going on?
Happy New Year! We're back live from New Orleans. The kid that's like, I got that bubbly. I got that bubbly. I got that bubbly. I got that. I got that. I got that bubbly. You haven't seen that?
I don't know who that is.
All right, you'll see it. I'll send you the thing. You guys know what I'm talking about at home. It sounds like Charlie Brown's mother. Wah, 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 wah. Do we have a minute? Yes, we do. Well, we have about 2 minutes.
You got what you can't see. There are all these balloons. And this is a guy with a confetti gun. We're a little premature.
Yeah. But that's okay. You can jump the gun. It's New Year's. Did we kiss last year? I think we did. People were worried about the sexual tension between us. But,
Are they now?
Yeah, little do they know.
I'm so full of gratitude.
Yeah.
It has been such a beautiful year. I am honored to stand next to you. I am so thrilled to be standing here in New Orleans. Just grateful.
So, what's not to love? And working with Brooke Baldwin.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All the blessings to everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for being with us.
We're not talking.
Should we go back to Randy?
No, I want to stay here. I'm going to be selfish. But we'll go back to Randy. Hey, Randy King. That had a big head on it. So, I can't hear anything.
I can't hear a thing. I can't hear a damn thing. It doesn't matter.
I know. So,
seriously, having a moment.
2016 was awful.